Peacemaker, shut the fuck.
Peacemaker, the show that no one asked for, is surprisingly doing pretty good among viewers and critics. Which is a shame because this show is mostly trash.
This is an open and shut case, and anybody who can't see that is a savage and an idiot!
Now, if people actually rated this show as average, I wouldn't have made this video. But the fact that this is one of the highest rated live action DC property on Rotten Tomatoes with a 95% fresh score, it irritates me. This show is not only beating the movie it's been off from, but also beating out classics like Wonder Woman and The Dark Knight. Sure, the action scenes are fun, and I like that we get to hear about obscure characters like Batmite, but this show has little to no substance. The writing is bad, Peacemaker the character is unbearably annoying, and the jokes are mostly bad. But because this show is trending, it gets more love from critics, it gets more articles running, it's doing far better than shows with the same material like Doom Patrol or Young Justice.
What a story, Mark.
Now, I know comedy is subjective, but I have to talk about this. While preparing this video, I came across an article by Glenn Weldon of NPR, and also I listened to a bit of his podcast, and he truly sums it up. The comedy for the show is a basic form of rinse and repeat, and I would say a vast majority of the time, it always follows this formula. Peacemaker, Vigilante, or just a male character in general is always depicted as being out of touch or saying something dumb, sexist, racist, or whatever. Then ultimately being corrected by a woman or a group of people, and I can only think of one time it was broken. The other times we get jokes is just completely immature, like fart jokes or butt babies. Like 90% of the time, I'm not laughing.
Peacemaker. What a joke.
Hey, Nelson, he's really hurt. I said ha ha.
My biggest issue with this show is just Peacemaker. As I stated, I don't like the humor in the show, and he plays a big role in that. But it's not just that. This character is meant to be the worst, and yet he has little to no flaws. Now, back to that podcast on NPR, the co-host Laura claims that Peacemaker is or was a racist, sexist, and homophobe. She claims that these jokes help highlight this, but this character is none of these things. This character is completely modern and liberal. He's not racist, even though he was raised by a racist. His dad is literally a part of the clan, like he's the leader of the clan, raised by this guy, and he's not dropping racial slurs or racial jokes. He's not homophobic because apparently he's bi. He's not sexist because he's not undermining women or assaulting them. The only thing that makes him bad is that he kills people for peace, and he doesn't even do that. The character that we got in Suicide Squad versus Peacemaker is completely different. Now you're probably saying yes because character growth. We went from this guy dedicated to his cause of bringing peace at any cost to a man who can't shoot a target that's obviously an alien. This character's demeanor is completely out of whack. And don't get me started on his backstory. What was that? He's forced to fight his brother, and then when he accidentally kills him, he prays for peace and becomes Peacemaker?
That don't make no sense.
Also, his brother at a really young age was completely progressive. He was into rock music and apparently was anti-racism with a father who was racist. There are just too many things in his backstory that doesn't make any sense. We went from a character who's determined by a stupid cause that you could laugh at, but also was completely serious in a sense, to a character who's just a complete joke.